Hey, Bodacious Beast, welcome back to my channel. My name is Scottyallenday. Well, tonight, it's not really a midnight madness. It's nowhere near midnight. I have been working incredibly hard on this particular video. I've been working for 2 or 3 days on it, and I think I'm ready to start talking about it. There's a lot of things that are going to be involved with this video that, you know, you're not going to agree with, people are not going to agree with. If you don't agree with something that I say in this video, please note it in the comment section below. You know what this video is going to be about because it's in the title. Now, the thing is, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss another video. This is a very exciting video. Well, I already said it's an exciting video, so I'm repeating myself. So Dolly Parton is releasing an album in November, on November 23rd, called Rockstar. It features all kinds of Hall of Famers, most people from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, mostly metal performers that have, you know, impacted history. A lot of them on her album are her husband's favorite, Carl Dean. Carl Dean is a hardcore rock and roll fan. And Carl Dean also played in a rock band himself. I had the information here, but I forgot which band he played in. If you know what band he played in, drop it in the comment section below so I can be able to keep that for my future reference when I come back to this. So, Dolly Parton is has always been and always will be the queen of country music. She's tried to pass the torch onto Loretta Lynn, she's on Tammy Wynette, and hundreds of others, but indeed, she is the true queen of country music. Now, her legacy is cemented so deep in country roots. When the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominated her to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, when she never even did a rock album. Now, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame itself is controversial because they're letting in all kinds of people that have nothing to do with rock and roll. They are not allowing a lot of the pioneers of rock and roll to come into the Rock Hall of Fame that have cemented the legacy in rock and roll and will always cement the legacy in rock and roll for eternity. So, we are talking a lot about Dolly Parton, Rockstar. A lot of current artists and a lot of very popular artists are on that album. But the question that the thing I'm trying to talk about today is, will that album that's being released in November be enough to restart the era of rock and roll? Like Huey Lewis in the news said, the heart of rock and roll is still beating. And it's still doing. It is still beating, but it's beating at a very slow rate. Country music has, and as far as country music has very, very deep roots in rock and roll. And by saying deep roots, there was a country music star that helped pioneer rock and roll, and that was Chet Atkins. Chet Atkins helped popularize the electric guitar. Both Gibson and Fender were helped out a lot by Chet Atkins. Those are the two iconic guitars. There are thousands of other guitars out there right now, but the thing is that was the sound. Now, speaking of sound, rock and roll is very unique. And it always has been, because the day that rock and roll started to take foot, it was all about trying to find the perfect sound. Now, the perfect sound came from these guitars. And the guitars were electric guitars, and they all had different types of pickups on it. And then you had the distortion pedals that came in later on. And you had iconic guitarists like Jimi Hendrix that bends the neck to try and get that particular sound out of a guitar. Of course, Jimi Hendrix played the guitar upside down. So, and a lot of people would not be able to even replicate that because, well, yeah, you played the guitar upside down. But the thing I still have a question in it, as far as Jimi Hendrix, is did he play the guitar upside down with the strings in that same position? So instead of the G string being at the G string, the E string being at the top of the E string being at the bottom, I haven't played guitar in a long time. I'm still trying to get warmed up with it. Trying to get, my hair's a mess. But, will Dolly Parton's album be enough to restart rock and roll? What is Dolly Parton's album saying to the world of musicians? Well, the thing is, the restart, rebirth, renewal, revival, whatever you want to call it of rock and roll, depends on the fans of rock and roll. But what Dolly Parton is saying is she's saying it's okay to cross over. She did. She crossed over. There's been thousands of rock musicians that have crossed over back in the country. John Bon Jovi, not Keith Richards, Steven Tyler. He made a country album. And the thing is, people are trying to cross over into different areas, but trying to go right back to the roots of country. But the thing is some of the people that have the roots in country are trying to cross over into rock and roll. So the question remains is, will that be enough to say, rock and roll, you got another movement? Well, the big question is that enough for the rock and roll to be another a new movement? But the other question is how are they going to handle the sales of this new album? How are they going to put this new album out? It's going to depend on how music is going to go from this day forth. If they don't put this album out right and just throw it out as a CD and say, okay, here you go, it's not going to do anything for rock and roll. But if they release the CD and they release the music videos and put it up online and on YouTube and then start distributing it and do digital and virtual concerts inside of movie theaters and that sort of thing, that will probably be enough to be able to get rock and roll started. So, yeah, I just got the light shined on my face and one of my co-workers just drove in front of me and I'm doing a vlog. Go figure. But, I'm just curious as if Dolly Parton is going to be the one that's going to say, hey, you know what? Let's do it. But you're going to have your critics. You're going to have your hardcore rock and roll musicians that are going to say, oh, this is not going to do anything for rock and roll. This is not going to be anything about rock and roll. It's just going to be a gal with a country twang that's trying to sing a rock song that don't make any sense. And I've heard a lot of rock songs that don't make any sense. Dee Snider says rock and roll was killed by acoustic guitar. Well, you know what? Maybe it might be enough for a master of the acoustic guitar to restart rock and roll. Ever think of that? MTV unplugged rock and roll. Maybe Dolly Parton might plug in rock and roll. That's pretty much what is going on here. Now, I've listened to World on Fire by Dolly Parton. It's a good song. Decent song. Not enough rock, but enough for rockabilly. And, if that's enough for rock, just to give a taste, to get people to get back into rock, maybe it might be enough to restart the fire of rock and roll. So, just my 2 bits about Dolly Parton's Rockstar, and I've looked at the lineup, and it's got a star-studded cast. I can't wait until it comes out in November. But you know what? I decided I'll release my video now. Why should we wait until the album comes out? A lot of the iconic songs that are on there have already been sang. All these iconic songs that are on Dolly's album, she's singing with these bands. It's going to be a different sound of rock and roll. But is it going to be enough to be the rebirth of rock and roll? Is it going to be enough to be able to get garage bands going again? Is it going to be enough for somebody that has been twanging on the electric guitar or shredding on the electric guitar in his bedroom to go online and start blowing people's minds? The question is, will it happen? What do you think? Like I say, drop it in the comment section below. I am very passionate about music altogether. I like country music, I like rock and roll. I like them both. I like rockabilly. That's my 2 genres of music that I love the most. Can't wait until I grow into a bigger channel so I can be able to do and go and do vlogs about some of these iconic places of rock and roll. Iconic grounds that rock and roll ended up getting their start. Certain bands that got their start in certain areas. I cannot wait to start sharing that with you. I've got a binder this thick right now of places that I want to go. So drop it in your comment section. Drop it in the comments. Drop your comments in the Drop your comments in the comment section below, and let me know what you think about rock and roll. And again, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss another video. Until next time, let's keep on rocking.